How do you hold? I'm so awkward. Okay, let's get started. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I know I can hardly call this a channel because I never post on it. I would get bursts of creativity and be like, oh my god, I really want to do a YouTube video, but then editing becomes too much work. Vlogging in public is too embarrassing, so I just stopped doing it. So I am so sorry, but hi. If you're new here, my name is Paris. I usually post about health, wellness, spirituality, nutrition, that sort of stuff on my Instagram, which I will link down below if you want to check that out. But today's video is gonna be a little different. It's gonna be about books. I'm actually not a big book person at all. When I was little, in middle school, I used to read a lot of books, mostly just like YA fiction, romance, things like that. I was never a bookworm. I just liked reading for the story and the plot and the characters, things like that. I have been really into reading lately. Reading has always been a goal of mine. Every single year at the beginning of the year, I'm like, I'm gonna pick up reading this year, and it just never happens. I get distracted, things happen, I use my phone too much, my eyes hurt, like all the excuses you can think about. But this year, 2021, I actually didn't write reading as a goal or a resolution whatsoever for my new year. I just kind of went in and started 2021 reading, and I just kept reading. So in this video, I will be talking about all the books that I read in January. It's not a lot, but I do want to talk about the books that I read because I think I read some interesting stuff. And I'm also going to talk about the books that I want to read in February. It is a Friday night. I got my room all vibey. I have my candles. I have my crystals behind me. You probably can't really see. I have all the lights. I have all the vibes going on. So we're just gonna talk about books because why not? This is like a wild Friday night for me, and who doesn't love a wild Friday night? So without further ado, let's just get right into the video. If you haven't subscribed or liked or commented or followed my Instagram, do that. Aside from that, let's get started. What am I even doing? Starting off with the books that I read in January. I'm just gonna go in the order that I read them. For my January books, I read most of them on my Kindle. So I read mostly ebooks, so I'm not gonna have the physical copy with me, but I'll insert a cover of the book here whenever I talk about them. First book that I read, The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I first learned about this book because I was browsing and I saw Oprah's book club is on there. I never knew it was on Apple TV, and I got super excited because I love her. And basically Oprah would, you know, interview the author, talk about their writing process, their inspiration, ask them questions, and it was just super interesting. I really wanted to watch that, but I really feel like it would be a waste if I didn't read the book first and I just went straight into, you know, the book club episodes. So I started reading it. This was the first one, and I read it, and it was incredible. The book itself talks about, I'm not gonna spoil any plot in this video. So even if one of the books that I'm talking about is on your reading list, I'm not going to be talking about any plot or any story, so you don't have to worry about that. This novel does have some sort of magic realism in it. There's some supernatural stuff, which I kind of dig. This book is about this boy, Hiram, who was born into a plantation working as a slave. His father is the owner of the plantation, also his master, and his mother is a slave. His father sold Hiram's mother away. Hiram actually has a photographic memory. Despite the fact that he can remember every single thing, he cannot for the life of him remember his mother. This book is kind of about Hiram finding out his special talent that can help the slaves, and later on connected him to an organization called the Underground, and talks about his journey through all of this and him meeting a girl that he liked, conflicts, and the heartbreaking story. It was a really good book. I really liked his writing. It's not one of those books that you're like highlighting paragraphs after paragraphs, but there are certain sentences that really hit me. I would give it a 4 out of 5 or like a 4.5 out of 5. It's a really good book and I really recommend it. And the next book that I read is Where the Crawdads Sing. This is a classic. I feel like everyone's reading it. I don't even know if I should go into it, but basically the story is about a girl called Kaya. She had a rough childhood and she was brought up in the marsh. It kind of got like a little suspense, a little murder mystery going on in there. The writing is good. it writes very beautifully about nature and the scenery, but I'm not a huge fan of those. Like, I loved reading it, but I would prefer a character's, like, you know, thoughts and things like that. So I liked this one. The ending was good, surprising. It was very unexpected, so I did like that part of it, but I feel like it was so hyped up. Like, everyone's like, this is my favorite book, it's so good, it's so good. Part of the reason why I read it was kind of like FOMO, like everyone read it, so I feel like, oh my god, I need to read this. But it was a good book. It jumps back and forth from different timelines and talks about, you know, different characters, different like storylines. I give it 3.5 or like a 3.8 out of 5. It's just not my personal favorite. The next book that I read, I believe, is Untamed by Glennon Doyle. And this book, let me tell you, okay, I am not a memoir or like a self-help book person. When I read, especially when I read for fun, when I don't have any problems going on in my life, I prefer to read fiction. When I heard so many people recommending it, and when I find out that it's a memoir, I was kind of like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it. But I got the ebook, I started reading it, and the amount of times that I cried, the amount of times that I felt, oh my god, I have never felt so seen, so relieved from reading a book. Let me tell you, I loved this book. This memoir is made up of small passages of, I would say, her realization. Each passage had a topic or like a story. Some are longer, some are shorter. The opening of the book talks about Glennon taking her kids to the zoo, and they were watching a cheetah run, but the zookeeper brought out a Labrador. This cheetah that they were supposed to meet basically grew up with this dog and will follow this dog and do whatever this dog does. The zookeeper let this dog chase a bunny, a dirty bunny tied to a Jeep. The dog did, and the cheetah was, you know, doing the same thing, following what the dog did, chasing the dirty bunny tied to a Jeep. After the whole show ended, the cheetah was released from the performance area, and Glennon's daughter turned to her and said she turned wild again. I loved the opening of this book because after I read it, I immediately started crying. I'm about to cry right now thinking about it, because if you feel like in your life you're chasing a dirty bunny and you felt like there must have been something out there that's more wild, that's going to make me feel free, that's going to make me feel excited, inspired, if I'm feeling unfulfilled, it's probably because there are things out there and you are a goddamn cheetah. This whole book is surrounding this idea of, as a woman, how do you navigate this world that is putting so much pressure on you, that is telling you what to do, telling you what to eat, telling you what to love, telling you what to look like, and I'm speechless. 5 out of 5. I love this book. Definitely my favorite book of January 2021. I don't remember which one I started first, but the next one that I read, I actually have a physical copy, is this book called The Idiot by Elif Batuman. I had it for a long time. I bought it probably in 2019, 2020, and there's a reason why I just couldn't finish this book. Now, her writing is very, very different from the writing style that I would have preferred. It's about this girl, Celine. She goes to Harvard, and in her freshman year, she met this Hungarian guy called Ivan, and she decided to enter a teaching program that teaches kids in Hungarian like suburbs how to, you know, read and write English, and she did that for him. He's always keeping her not too far, not too close, just kind of playing around with her emotions. Their relationship was a very intellectually attractive but lacking in reality. The whole plot doesn't have a lot to it, but it's a thick book and it's a lot of words. From time to time, I would just get so lost in her writing and be like, I just read so many pages, but I'm not really sure what that did to the plot. So it's very plain and repetitive writing for me, so that part kind of threw me off a little bit. There are certain parts of the book that I liked, though I can't really think of which part. I would give this like a 3 out of 5. It was eh. So the next book that I read is another very popular book, and it is The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett. I also feel like this is a book that needs no introduction. It is on a lot of people's best books of 2020 list, and a lot of people loved it, and so did I. Brit Bennett's writing is so good. The way she tells the story is just, it's not overly dramatic. It's like she's telling you the story, like in person. She's telling you a story. It's about two twin sisters who were born as very white passing, and one chose to live as a white person and one chose to live as a black person, and it talks about how different their lives are. Like I said, it's not overly performative, just so good. I just loved reading it, and the story just keeps drawing you in. There were days or nights that I just felt like I just want to sit here in a corner reading this book. Also really opened my eyes to how drastically different our lives or our experiences can be because of how we identify. I would give it a solid 4.5 out of 5. I was expecting a more dramatic ending, that's all. That was everything that I read in January. Why do I feel like I read so many books? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I read 5 books. Not bad for me, because honestly that was more books than I read in the entire year of 2020, so I'm proud of myself. If there's any book that you read and also liked, let me know. If there's any book that you read and hated but I liked, let me know why you hated it. Next, we'll move into all the books that I want to read in February. Okay, now, knowing how many books that I read in January, I feel like I'm being very ambitious about my February reading goal. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 books in total that I want to read in February 2021. Everything that I want to read, and if I don't finish reading it, it will be pushed over to March. So, first 2 books that I'm gonna read in February: The Picture of Dorian Gray and My Year of Rest and Relaxation. So these 2 books I already started. The Picture of Dorian Gray I already read many times. I read it in high school for a class, and I never ever enjoy any class reading. I just always feel so rushed, and I feel like I have to get something out of it, like you have to feel something, and the writer wrote this sentence for this purpose and that sentence for that purpose. So I never ever liked reading anything for a class, but this book was an exception. This book has a lot of kind of cynicism, a lot of dark and very extravagant conversation. This one is not rainbow and unicorn, but the writing is just so good. There is no such thing as a moral or an immoral book. Books are well written or badly written, that is all. That's kind of him justifying the fact that he talks so much about topics that are considered immoral at the times in this book, and he was so highly criticized for writing this book, and I love it, and I highly suggest anyone who is into those topics read it. This will be number 1, and I spent too much time on it, so let's move on. So the second book that I was gonna read in February is this novel. It's a fiction as well. It is My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I also saw this in one of the bookstores, one of my favorite bookstores in New York City. It was the last one on the shelf, so I was like, this is fate, this is meant to be. I was meant to meet this book, see this book, pick up this book and read it, so I did. And I am almost I'm halfway through this book already. This girl, her parents died one after another. Her dad because of cancer, her mom because of drugs and alcohol addiction, basically. And I know some people criticize this book a lot because the main character is obviously white, pretty, has a lot of money from her parents' inheritance, and is just taking pills to waste her life away. So a lot of people criticize the book for that. But like The Picture of Dorian Gray, I read books for the writing, the plot, I don't know, I honestly, I'm pretty enjoying this book, and I will report back after I finish. So the next book that I plan to read in February is this one, Milk and Honey. I also finished reading it already. This is a reread for me again. It's poetry. I don't think this needs introduction either. It's beautifully written. It's split into how many parts? I forgot. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 parts, and the 4 parts are the hurting, the loving, the breaking, and the healing. I'm not a big poetry person, so if you have your favorite poetry books, please let me know and I'll check them out. But I've never really been into poetry. I feel like that's probably because I haven't met the right poetry books for me, so let me know your recs. The next one that I was gonna read in February, I'm very excited and scared of this one, but I have heard amazing things about this book, and it is The Shining. I was looking for where the title would be, but it is The Shining. I bought this from Strand for $7, and it is a thick book. I have never watched the movie, I've never read the book, so I don't really know what happens. This is gonna be an interesting read for me. Now that I'm talking about it, I have so many books that I want to read. I honestly don't think I'm going to finish, but I'm just going to tell you guys all about it because I bought these books, so this is like a books haul, kind of. The Alchemist. A friend recommended it to me for the first time, and then I heard so many people talking about it. I feel like I've been seeing this cover on social media everywhere, so I feel like I need to read it. The last book that I have for February is this one, and it is All the Light We Cannot See. I don't remember who recommended it, but I remember someone recommending it either on a YouTube video or actually one of my friends. I don't know what the story is about. I actually did not even read reviews for the book. I just went in a bookstore, I saw it on the shelf, and it was like staff picks or something in Strand, and I picked it up. This is a pretty big book, so maybe I will read it, maybe not. I will report back. It's pretty obvious that I hated ebooks because all of my February books are actual copies, but that is all the books that I read in January and all the books that I wanted to read in February, and I will report back at the end of the month to show you guys what I actually read and what I liked out of all those books. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I will link my social media down below so you can follow me. I will probably be posting about these books and any quotes that I really liked, and I also post a lot of recipes, New York City stuff, just life stuff. So if you want to live life with me, go follow my social media down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.